Well, in the MTC, so at the end of the MTC, we realized that we weren't going to get our visas to go to Argentina. And so my whole district, I remember one day we all got reassignments, so where we were going to go. And it was kind of like opening a mission call all over again, because we're like, where are we going? Where are we going? And I ended up going to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So, and another girl in my district, another sister in my district as well, got there. So we were both going to leave together and fly out together. And so it was like really early morning when we left the MTC, went to the airport, and it was just like so crazy because, you know, we'd been in the MTC where there's always teachers and like always instructors like telling you what to do and helping you out. And then all of a sudden we were alone in the airport just with each other. We just felt like so weird because we'd been in that secluded MTC for 6 weeks where like everything is like so spiritual and you don't see anything worldly. And then we're like in the airport and we're like, oh, what do we do? What do we do? And it was just us two. But we made it to our airplane okay, and we made it to Louisiana. And like I had no clue what to expect because I mean it's only been a couple days that I was like, well, I'm going to Louisiana now. But it was awesome. Like the mission president was there at the airport with his wife and the assistants, and they met us there and welcomed us to their mission, and told us that we were assigned to like an area about an hour away from the airport. And because we'd come just in the middle of a transfer and everything, they just sent us out to meet our new companions. And we actually ended up kind of being like a foursome companionship because we were like visa waiters. So we were with two other sisters, and we would just kind of trade off who's companions with each other that day. So it was really fun. But it was just so weird because so it was a elderly missionary who drove us just to our new area, and it was a P day for the sisters that we were meeting, and they just met us at their apartment. They're like, all right, here are your new companions. And I was like, what? This is so crazy. Because I'd always heard, like, you go to the mission, you mission house and all this, but it was just like, poof, here you go, you're on your mission now. And so, like, we spent, like, an hour kind of unpacking and adjusting, and then we just went out. I remember, like, my first night we went to a family home meeting with a Spanish family down there in Louisiana, and I was just like, I didn't understand. I mean, I thought I understood Spanish in MTC, but it was just like so much, everything going on, and everyone speaking Spanish. But it was a really good experience. Not like I'll never forget like that first FHG I ever had on my mission. So that was good. And then when I finally did get my visa, it was just about 6 weeks later. So I just waited for a transfer. I remember it was like kind of terrifying because I had traveled by myself because I was the only one that got it from that mission. So I traveled by myself just to like from Baton Rouge to Atlanta, Georgia. But I remember like one funny thing, I was waiting in the airport and I was like, hey, I can go to the bathroom without telling anyone right now. So I just felt really alone, but it was weird but fun. But then I met up with some other missionaries in that airport that gotten their visas from other parts of the world or other parts of the country where they had been waiting for their visas. So kind of made myself companions with them. There's like 3 or 4 of us going down. And so I flew down there, and it was like an all-night flight. And so I really had not been sleeping that much. And we got there and it was about 9 or 10 in the morning. Probably around 10, and I remember being just so tired, but you know, the mission president's wife were at the airport, and there was like a bunch of other missionaries that come in too, all going to different Argentina missions. Like we got to the airport and we just saw all these other people that had flown from other airports, and so there's just like a mess of suits and skirts, and then like mission presidents like yelling for people's names or people holding signs up, and it was just so crazy, like going through customs and everything. And then like we found our mission president. He I think he'd been studying our pictures or something because he just like grabbed us. He's like, Hermanas, come with me. We're like, oh, hi. And we went into the house, the mission home, where we met up with this really was a transfer day, so it was much more official this time. The missionaries that had been at the MTC in Argentina, they arrived at the house, and so we were all new missionaries. And so I remember like being there and eating my first Argentina meal, which was actually just pizza, but like really fancy pizza because they're all about the fancy pizza, and they have green olives on their pizzas like all the time. Like that's the #1 topping. And I didn't want to eat it because I was like, that looks so gross. And my mission president's like, no, you have to try the green olive. So I ate the green olive on my first day in Argentina, and it really wasn't that good. and I still didn't like them my whole time, but I would eat them if I had to. But they were just like tasted so interesting. So yeah, I remember that, and then meeting our trainers for the first time, and then after meeting our trainers, we just went to our area. We went in like a taxi to our area, but it was like an hour and a half away from the mission home, just like out in the middle of nowhere, country town, and everything was just so weird. And like that first night we actually were whitewashing an area, so my trainer didn't know like the area at all either. So we like got to the apartment that was like super dirty from what the others had left. So it was like my first impression of like Argentina is this super dirty apartment that others didn't know how to clean. And then we like ran to the store to get some food. And I just remember feeling like so overwhelmed because I didn't recognize a lot of the food because it was just all different brands or different packaging. And I was just like, what is happening? And I just felt so scared because everything was just so new. But I remember like after a couple weeks getting more familiar with the food and with the area, it was a lot better. But just like that first kind of culture shock. And I remember like buying the food. Like you almost pay everything in cash down there because they don't really use like credit cards or debit cards or anything. So I was paying with cash, and if they don't, sometimes they like don't have the change for returns. They just like give you a piece of candy for your 50 cents return. And I just remember like being so confused, like, wait, where's my change? And my companion's like, come on, let's go. And I was like, but they didn't give me my change. But that's just, so that was like one thing that threw me off. But like after a while, you just like learn to love it so much and just love their uniqueness.